I know that for such schools, they are government schools actually, and the teachers' salaries are paid from government coffers. It's not like it's the school that would have to pay for the welfare. Maybe the money they're collecting. No, I know. The money, aside from this particular one, I know schools like that, they still collect small money. That is not the tuition and all of that, but it's used for like small maintenance.
Pastoral.
Yeah, pastoral, thank you. Maintenance of the school and all of that. But the core of what is used is highly funded by government, and that is how it's supposed to be. And so when we are worried about, probably insecurity, the welfare of the children, we should be directing the question to the government. What are you doing to improve the schools in your care? And also, what are you doing to ask people for help, well-meaning Nigerians who probably have enough to fund and give scholarships? Are you making it open to them? Are you putting up a proposal to them to say, we, the government, this is where we are stuck. This is the revenue that comes to schools like this, but we need this, we need that, and we need well-meaning Nigerians to come to our aid? Are we putting all of those out so that, and also aside from putting all of those out, are we also in our own trying to understand the times that we are in, cuts the cost of government in a way that when you mention some of these increments, people are understanding and saying that we are all in this together. We are all squeezing ourselves together. But hold on, before we take this, we have a caller, Hassan on the line, and then I'll come to Tope.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's saddening for a Lagos state government to come up with this. It's much more of personalization of a sensitive matter. You see, we don't look at the implication of this. It will drive away a lot of children from schools. That's number one. And we don't know the societal, the social, and security implication of this. In Lagos State, we have problem of area boys. There are area girls also, because people don't talk about them. A lot of nonsense going on in society. And it's attributed to not going to school. You see, school is not a favor by government. It's a social construct by government. It's part of political economy for government to provide it. And for us to now be saying that we need donation to do this, no. Let them channel it. No state in Nigeria is handicapped to run boarding schools. What we are seeing now is that we are seeing different people. In the past, we have people that have clear vision to move the society forward. And if you don't take care of that thing, I don't support taking even a dime for running the school. Be sincere in running the school. The most important thing is for them to have a sincerity of purpose. Lagos State government have all it takes. The problem we are having in this country is that we are teaching people, we are recruiting people from private sector to come and run our governance. And they are now seeing it as a favor. It's never a favor. Exactly. To run a school is never a favor. It's a responsibility that must be done for any willing and responsible leadership. Good morning.
Good morning, Hassan. You heard everything.
Yes, I heard him.
Okay.
But it's not like he was talking about the fact that running a school is not a favor, and that because people have come from private sector, they don't understand. They might understand administration, but they don't understand governance and the responsibility of government. It's a different thing if that's what you studied, public administration. I've spoken to people that they did their masters or PhD in public administration. The thought is different. But even aside from that, Nigerians have, in the past 1 year, had to deal with so many things. In the past 1 year, the cost of power has increased by over 300%, and it was not planned, sudden. The cost of petrol increased by over 200%, sudden. As of today, the cost of petrol has increased by over 500% in the last 1 year. In the last 1 year, 500%. This same government is the same one that has given us petrol increase, power increase, then food. Official rate is 40%, but we all know how much bag of rice was before the addition came in, and how much bag of rice is now, how much yam, how much tomato. So you have people dealing with all of these issues
at the same time,
and then you bring an increase is a bit insensitive, and especially when it is coming at such a short rate, because technically people plan for their for school fees. You're supposed to like say, oh, my children are going to school, I've saved for the past 4 months, and then when children resume, we know that at this point in time we have paid school fees. Then you now find out at the point of resumption that you're paying over 185% more for school fees per child. God bless you.
Get the shortfall from?
God bless you. You have 4 children. How do you now handle? Like, what will you do?
Yeah.
So when they do that protest, the response of the government was a response of people that did not understand the pain of people, because you have the money as a person in power, and at that level, your salary and the emolument that comes with your position makes you comfortable. You don't understand the reality of the majority of population. Majority of Nigerians fall in the category of struggling.
Yeah.
There was an hunger protest. Why was there hunger protest? Because people were hungry.
To eat.
So when we are having this conversation, the people that are in leadership position need to understand the people they are leading. When you are so far from people you are leading, you can't even rationalize it. You're like, how much is bag of rice? 95,000 naira. Let's buy 2 bags because you can afford it. So that 95,000 naira is their salary.
Yeah. So let me take this call and I'll come to Miriam. Kenneth from Okota. Good morning, Kenneth.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, please, I'm coming in respect of this your issue. I disagree with Ramosu. Can you hear me?
Volume, please.
With Ramosu. Yes, I disagree with Ramosu totally. There is no Richmond children in that school.
Okay.
No Richmond children in modern school. They are all people struggling to meet up. I remember my own child went to modern school here in Badagry. I'm just struggling to meet up. There is not a rich parent here. We are all much there. So seeing that car or seeing that, a phone, iPhone, have you been inside that car? Most of the cars are baby carriers. They are baby carriers. Nothing. So I don't know if there is any way the government can make this education affordable and accessible to us. I think we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Kenneth. Miriam.
Okay, yeah. So I mentioned earlier when I was speaking that when we push for free education, knowing Nigeria, for most, across sectors, any institution that is supposed to provide free services to Nigeria, somehow we leave the quality of those services from those sectors very low. And that was what I mentioned. That's when I mentioned salaries of teachers, insecurity, food for the children. The truth is, the government will tell you, because we don't have a lot of money, because we're going through this economic downturn, we cannot afford to give you the quality of education that your children need, unless you're able to give us this, meet us a little way to help us give you better quality of education. So I understand that government owns the schools, but government also needs to be funded to be able to do some things like that. So when I say that, it's not to say the school is supposed to pay for teachers. It's to say that I understand our system. This is how we work. Many already, even before this economic downturn, how many of us have visited model schools and seen the state that they're in? Even with budgets showing that money is going out to those schools. So the reason also why a lot of parents don't put their children there is because they haven't trusted government over time to put in the resources that these schools need for the infrastructure, for the schooling, for the teachers, for the feeding. Now, I understand that this 100,000 is going towards making sure, that I'm sure that the infrastructure is even a little clean and nice for them, that they are going to eat well. So that's why I'm saying, on the one hand, I get it. I see why government is asking for that. Because the 35,000 that you used to, as we know, it will go nowhere, nothing, But you are right, especially our last caller, a lot of people are going through a tough time. We are going through hardship. And for me, what I see a dilemma. I see a dilemma right now. But I think that government can take the steps that they need to, alleviate it a bit. And as I said, scholarship is one way to go. I like the point that you made about well-meaning individuals, corporate bodies that have always supported government in one way or the other. All our billionaires, we see some of the things that you're doing, But what is critical today for me, I think, is education. Yeah. We need more support in those areas. And please don't treat our parents as if they have money just stuck somewhere. You must give us enough notice for our, for us to raise money to send our children back to school. But above all, times are tough for government, for everyone. And what that means, it does not now, for me, does not mean to government, okay, oh, things are tough for government, so, you get a pat on the back. It means that for all those things, for all those places where we're losing money because of our negligence and inefficiencies and not putting our eye on what we're supposed to put our eye on, so we're losing, there are loopholes here and there. It's time to cover that up and start making sure that all the monies that we have, we tie them together and please push them in the sectors that are needed. Education, health, quality of our teachers. We keep complaining about the quality of our teachers. How many model schools are doing consistent training of their teachers? This sort of training encourages other people to come as well, So there's a lot of work. See, in Nigeria, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I'm happy that we're discussing like the most important things. We have hidden behind crude oil money for a long time. Now I don't clear, as they say. There's no money anywhere. So we're now looking through our corners in our house, in our pockets, and now we're asking, remove all the money anywhere and put them where it's needed. And now that we have a refinery on ground, we heard that there's going to be, improved currency rate. I hope that the money that we're saving, because we now have a refinery on ground, working refinery, where we are spending a lot less to buy, we're saving money, from buying petrol from this local refinery, that will be saved towards education and towards health.
Yeah, we have another caller on the line. Tina, good morning.
Good morning. My own suggestion is, for now, because these schools have enjoyed privilege in the past when things were right, and the other public schools did not enjoy it. But now they are carrying foul because it's going to touch them, because they are privileged citizens. People might not agree with me on this, but what government did is not the right thing to do as of now. Probably they meet themselves halfway, or take a drastic decision, tell all the parents, sit down and say, okay, for now, until things changes, let everybody be coming from home every day. Like other students in Lagos-State.
Come from,
so that they can feel the privilege they enjoyed in the past. Now, I'm not. My own suggestion is that they should meet themselves halfway. Not that, because we know today, and government have other things to spend money on. We should just be realistic. Everybody believes that because it is government, they don't have any other thing, they should just put money onto just some privileged few. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so to be realistic, right? We all know that it may not happen. All I'll just say is that the fact that the government increased it is too much. I think all of us, we all know that at this point in time, they are going to increase a lot of things. So I think all parents, we should have been ready for this kind of increment. Yes, the increase is too much, but at least the government should reduce it in a way that, because when somebody did the breakdown, there's 300 naira. We know that that's not realistic.
At all.
It's not realistic. So somehow, if we sit down and say we're waiting for government to do this and do that and all, we've seen so many times that the government does not come through. So now let's face reality.
This one is where
what is the way forward?
Like this is their area of specialization.
This is the area of specialization.
No, but Madam said she saw, we all see things in different ways. Madam saw dilemma in the decision.
Yes.
I saw hypocrisy in the decision. I saw hypocrisy of a group of people who are privileged and assume every other person is as privileged as them, or majority is as privileged as them. When Mariam was like, the reality of our time, it's a perspective. I saw insensitivity on the part of our leaders to make such a decision. And it is important that we address it. I know that the majority of Nigerians have enjoyed subsidy in many areas we were not aware of.
Yes.
Nigeria is a highly subsidized nation.
Yeah,
We've always enjoyed subsidy with power at least, and as well as petrol. And removing that subsidy in just a false, like, oh, this is the reality. We cannot continue like this. You remove all the subsidy. It was a huge shock. Yeah. And they've been giving it to us like this. No, this administration, they've been doing is a shock. They're just bass every day. Like, you just turn here, you're seeing the reality of, and the government to tell you, this is the reality. I cannot continue like this. We've done this for so long. Corruption has done, but we are also seeing the same government in expenses that are not justifiable, carry out unjustifiable expenses. So that's the hypocrisy. So if you're telling me to suffer, you're not doing the same thing. And the majority of them, how many of our high-ranking officials have children in any model college? Many of them boldly flaunt their graduation of their children from universities abroad. And they post it online in celebration. We celebrate with you, don't worry. The good things that you are enjoying, we too will enjoy it. But when you do that, you are held to a higher level. And you can say you earned your money from private sector before coming into governance. But once you come into politics, you are meant to make huge sacrifice for the people you are serving. Yeah. And every reality, every question, every rationalization you can make, oh, it is just 100,000 naira for 100 days, 1,000 naira per day. How can it feed somebody? I don't know how you want to do your calculation. All I know is we want to have children in school. And what you have done now, we take children out of school.
I agree with you, but I want to narrow this down a bit. The model colleges are just Lagos State, Abi? Is it just Lagos State? It's the federal state.
Yeah, but
this one that was increased
speaking of,
was just Lagos State, right? Now, I understand how states can be looking at their budget to say, we're taking on more than we can actually handle, and we have to find a way to cut it, right? In the sense that we have in our schools, because of probably the quality of the schools, years gone by, a lot of people from different other places want their children to school in this. And now we have a lot of children in our hands, and with the resources that we are getting, because of everything that's happening at the moment, we cannot cater for all of them. There's a way they do it when you go outside your place of work or your place of stay to school. You have fees meant for indigents, fees that cater for the poor people in the state who are supposed to be the primary beneficiaries of that state, indigent fees. Then we have fees for people who are coming from other places, whose own will be slightly higher or majorly higher, depending, compared to the indigent fees. Can they look at it in that way?
They do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know for this.
I'm not aware, because I think the 100K they talked about is like a blank for everybody that's
boarding house.
For the boarding house. But can they look at it? So if you're, and that's why data is very important. You have data of the people who are from these states who are getting into the schools, the indigent people, you have their parents' salary, and just have a way of those metrics of knowing that these people actually need this. And then they have their own fee. And then for people who are coming from other states who have their own fee, which will be higher than the people who are the primary beneficiaries of that state. Could that also help to cushion the effects of this, so that it's not like a blanket, we're increasing from 35,000 to 100,000 in this?
No, but if it's fees for something that they all enjoy within the school. So remember, it's not fees it's not tuition.
Yeah, no.
So maybe you're in that school, if it has to do with feeding, if it has to do with like boarding services, that one has to be uniform.
Should it?
Yes.
No, because
so
we have indigent
everyone.
people. It's not about, life is not fair. Let's be realistic about this. Life is not fair to anybody.
But we're asking for fairness.
And the caller said they should go to day school. Yes. There are some schools that you cannot go to day.
Yes, hold on. We cannot even have fairness in this, because if all the states were doing what they're supposed to do, I don't know why I have to send my children to Sokoto to go and school if I'm living in Maiduguri. I'm just saying now, we had a reason for going to those schools. Yes. Your parents had a reason for sending you to those schools. I didn't go away from home because the school in my own vicinity was doing well. But we had people coming in terms of infrastructure and everything. They could have, if the school was not up to par at the time we were schooling, they would have sent me out.
Okay.
There's a reason why people send their children to certain schools.
Yes.
Now, if every state has that standard, that measurement of, what the metrics we're looking for sending our children to school, at least one school in your state has that sort of standard. I don't think every parent in your state will choose to send their children out of your state. So everybody needs
this one, majority of them are Lagosians.
Be held responsible in this. But let's take Precious. I don't know if you guys understand me. Precious. Oh, sorry, Precious.
Okay, but there's something the caller said.
So let me just add this now, right? That's why I'm saying life is not fair to everybody. And the easier we accept it, the better for us to understand that some things may give. So whether it's everybody that is using the boarding house, I'm schooling in my state, for instance, I should have the fact that this is my state and I have some benefits of schooling in my state.
Let's say all of you in your state are in your school. So who will pay the expensive?
extra?
No, people will always go to other places.
Exactly. So when you say, why are people sending people to other schools?
Okay, you pay a little higher.
Also, like one of the callers said that that most of the people that go to model schools are poor people. I disagree with that because I also have some friends who their kids go to those kind of schools. They are just like you said, just like what BC said. There are reasons why people take their kids to certain schools.
Yeah, true.
So you see, like for her, she took her child to that school because she wants the child to know how to pray very well, you know, and then be able to mingle with the rich and the poor, be able to
from diverse
that kind of that kind of life, so that you don't know what the future holds. You may be rich today, and then sometimes we've seen a lot of times that people will be rich and then they come down.
Yeah.
And then some will be poor and then they go up. And then there should be fair treatment. We went to federal schools and we knew how we didn't care whose father was there.
Exactly.
We mingled and nobody
all
cared.
Drank Gary together.
We drank Gary, we did everything, provisions, you know, we brought a certain amount of provisions to school, we shared, we did everything. Our food was very small. Up till today, I can bathe with paint bucket of water. One paint, I can bathe and I will bath very well. But you see, my kids can't do that. Yes. So those are the reasons why some parents take their kids to those model schools. So I would say they should be fair because the government school, everybody should pay the same amount. Yeah. We should all pay the same amount regardless of where you're coming from. I should, at least me too, I should get that benefit. But the only thing is,
if it's federal, I agree. If it's state, the state has a choice to say, if you're coming from outside my state, you pay a little higher because the amenities that I have. Why is UK quarreling now that Nigerians have gone there to finish and other immigrants have gone there to finish everything, the resources that they have for their people? So if it's your state, you can say, because this is state managed,
also we know how schools
you have to pay a bit more when you're coming in from another state.